गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Amrita Anubhav, chapter 5, Satchidananda Padatrayi Vivarana, how the terms Sat, Chit, Ananda are only there to cancel their opposites Asat, Achit and Dukkham, and therefore these words do not qualify to define the truth that the self is. And we are in OV number 18. एवं वस्तुसि जाणो जाता जाणणेची वस्तु तत्वता मग जाणणे आणि जाणता कैचा उरे. He said, in this way, knowing the self essentially is itself being the self. Thereafter, where is the possibility of knower and knowing? See, we know the self how? If I say, who are you? If someone asks you a question, you say, I am what? I am Ravi. Who Ravi? Oh, who is husband of Usha? Which Ravi? Who is this profession? Who Ravi? Who is living in Glenwaverley? Who Ravi? Who migrated to Australia? Who Ravi? Who is son of so and so? Who Ravi? Who is listening right now? Who Ravi? Oh, this body. Who Ravi? Who's listening? But all this is with reference. You are accepting yourself with reference to something or someone. Something, who Ravi, who's sitting on the chair. That's all. It's inert. So when it says here in this way, knowing the self essentially is itself being the self. Essentially means without reference to anything. So make an attempt, find out, organize your thinking process in such a way that from outside you come to closer and closer and closer and keep dropping away the references. The world is because of the eyes, because of the senses are because of the mind is because of the intellect is because of the life principle is because of the Chaitanya Vastu. See? Come back. Drop all references. Our mind has been trained so wrongly and we have allowed it. Initially, the education system didn't help us. It didn't teach us the correct way. And then, now that we know the correct way, then make an attempt to not allow yourself to be defined with reference to anything or anyone, it requires extreme alertness and vigilance. As you are walking around, as you are talking, as you are eating, as you are walking, as you are interacting, continuous alertness, not on the world, what you are interacting with, but alertness and vigilance as regards who you are, who is untouched, who is the witness. Then the language will change, then your thinking will change. In this way, knowing thereafter, where is the possibility of knower and knowing? Then reference is possible only where there are two. In this way, knowing the self, the Sadvastu, is being it. The self is not the object of knowledge. Self cannot become the object of knowledge. Eyes cannot become an object of our vision. It's not possible. Similarly, mind, which is essentially consciousness, that mind cannot think about its own essence, and thus mind vanishes or comes to a stop. So the self is not the object of knowledge, but it is the subject. Then how can the knowing and the knower exist apart from each other as separate when one wants to know the self? If we are genuinely wanting to know the self, if we are having this mumukshutvam, if we are wanting, or mumukshutvam meaning wanting self-realization, we want to abide in the self as the self, and you are the self only, as if, bold, italics, underline, as if, behaving as if you are an individual, behaving as if you are the mind, as if the body, behaving as if you are the husband, brother, sister, etc. And who are you essentially? The self. And when you have sorted all this out and come to yourself, the mind can illuminate all objects, all objectivity it can illuminate. But can it illuminate the subject itself? The eye cannot illuminate the eye. It's not possible. And therefore, where that attempt is made and thinking stops, there you are. Oh, but Mahatmas keep thinking afterwards also, after realization. You get to that first stage first. Forget about Mahatmas. Don't copy them. You work what is feasible for you. You work, go through your process of inquiry and come to this silence where only you are. Then we'll talk about the Anvaya part, how everything is the self. But first come here, come to access yourself. We haven't even done that. If you want Laddu Pehle, we want the results first. So then how can the knowing and the knower exist apart? The distance, the difference, the sense of otherness, the separation. Where is this separation? Where is the separation?
In the mind, Swamiji.
In the mind. Mind means separation. Mind means differences. What is the difference? Subject, object. But now, as we saw in our last class, the subject Normally, you are now listening. I am the object and you are the subject. And if in my case I am the subject, you are the object so I am talking to someone. But when you are with yourself, you are the subject and the object is also the self. Is it possible? Everything comes to a stop. That's what he's saying. How can the separation remain when the subject is also I and the object is also I? And this sounds very simple. Yeah, I have to think of myself. Oh, my eyes will look at themselves. Try. Oh, I am happy in my where I am. Try. Don't go out. Don't get distracted by TV, children, grandchildren, food, job. Don't get disturbed. Stay where you are. When I, the pure self, becomes the knowledge, object of knowledge, and the knower of the object, the jnata, jnaya, the knower known differentiation, bheda is gone. So when we come to the true I, where the subject is one with the object called the subject, when I is abiding in the I as the I, when the I is abiding in the I as the I, what will it become? It will become a thought-free I. Because no thought required. Thought only comes about when there are differences. When there is separation, then the thought comes about. But here the subject is I, the object is also I. So you are seeking yourself and you come to that moment where subject and object are one. Just as the waker who is wanting to sleep becomes one with the sleep. Same way here. But you are not gone to sleep. The seeker, the contemplator, the I is seeking the I. And when he becomes one with the I, or the subject is thinking about the subject. Is it possible? Question is this. Is it possible? Subject thinking about subject. If the approach is objective in its nature, then you will be talking like I am talking. That one point, the I is the subject and I is the object. How many words I am using to explain that? Why? Because I am teaching, I am communicating to someone. When I am communicating to someone, I have accepted that duality is there. Whom am I teaching? I am teaching my mind. So I have accepted that mind is separate to me. And I am trying to reform it, reformat it, educate it. See? And mind is intelligent. It thinks. So it's thinking, oh, this is very sublime, this is very interesting, this is very fantastic. And when a few moments it thinks about it, it says, he's making a fool of me. I is also a thought as the subject, and object is also a thought called I. He's giving me such a big lecture, but I am the same. I. How can I think of I? He is taking me for a ride. I will not listen to him. Or he becomes inspired. Yeah, hey, This makes sense. That if I thinks about the I, then all thinking will stop. Then I'll come back to my original nature. That's what I was seeking for so long. They say that is self-realization. I don't know what is self-realization, but I think I'll do this. And it tries. But as it starts trying, because of old habits, other thoughts come, other objects come, other concepts come, other imaginations come. And you have to keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. Just like that bird which is tied down with a string to the pole, keeps trying to fly away, but eventually finds that sitting on the pole is the most restful place. It gets exhausted. Same way, we tether our mind by I thinking about I. It's not possible, but we do it that way. How long? As long as the fuel is not burnt completely. All objectivity doesn't burn away. When all objectivity burn away, then contemplation of I on I also will not be required. That will also dissolve away. Then what will remain? Then only you will remain. That is knowing is equal to being. Because this self is of the nature of consciousness, knowledge, and it is of the nature of existence. And what is this knowledge? The knowledge is I know that I am ever existing. I know that I am the infinite existence. I am the substratum. How do you know this? Without thoughts. Then when the mind, can you remain without thoughts forever? Not possible. Eventually mind will click in. Just like how can you keep sleeping all your life? Not possible. Yes, some people defy. Actually we are sleeping to ourselves at this moment. We think, therefore we are seeking. So just like sleep is not continuous, waking is not continuous, so also the mind, I thinking about I and remaining in that poise is not, once you know it, you know it. But the mind, it's by nature, it is into involvement and withdrawal. So when it withdrew, it clicked. But by nature, now again it will get involved. It will get involved with thoughts, it will get involved with time, space, objectivity, everything. And when it gets involved, then what is the language? This is the language called Amrit Anubhav which comes out. See, this is the language that comes out. Because now it is revealing, it has tasted the nectar. It has bathed in the light of consciousness. Why? Mind is nothing but consciousness. See? Just as day and night are not possible without the sun, similarly, withdrawal and absorption, involvement, is not possible without the self for the mind. That is its nature. Mind is the potentiality. But now when it becomes involved, it gets involved by way of thoughts. Now, where are the thoughts coming from? They are always coming from the mind only. But now they are, if I can put a picture in front, it is they are being bathed in the light of consciousness. Everything is bright. Everything is divine. Every thought is divine. When does it become divine? When there is no ownership of the thought. If you get attached, if you get associated, if you give importance, if there is a doer, if there is a thinker, if there is a seer, if there is a talker, then those thoughts become undivine. because the corruption of ego has come up by way of becoming. But when all interaction is taking place but no owner is born, meaning no agent is there, meaning no seer, toucher, feeler, taster, thinker, speaker, listener is born, then it is a divine experience. Then that what clicked, I knowing, the I knowing and being were one, it continues in spite of mind becoming active or inactive. It remains. It was always like that. Now you have come to know it Atmatvena. You have come to know that it is you who is the continuous one. It is not an idea which is a continuous. It is not some concept which is continuous. I have to be myself. You are already yourself. You see? Sadachar says that in whose light these four things, namely Pramata, the knower, the Prameya, the object of knowledge, Pramiti, the knowledge of the object, and Pramanam, the means of the knowledge of the object, function and are illumined, that can that pure consciousness be known by any one of these? Just as can any object in the world ever know the senses which are illuminating it? Can the senses ever come to know the mind which is illuminating the senses? Can the mind ever come to know the Chetana which is illuminating it? And can the Chetana come to know the Atma, the conscious principle, whose reflection it is? Not possible. Cause cannot be known by the effect. The day and night can never come to know the sun, the cause. The ornament cannot come to know the gold. Ornament is the effect, gold is the cause, the infinite cause, is the substratum. So, when mind functions, here he says the Prameya, the Pramata, the Prameya, the Pramiti, and the Pramanam. All these things are going on. The subject, the object, the instrument of knowledge, and the knowledge. All this is, four of them are taking place. But where are they taking place? They are taking place at the equipment level, at the mind level. Mahatma, a realized master, also says, I am. He also uses the word I only. When we use the word I and he uses the word I, what is the difference? He doesn't get caught up in the mind. We get caught up in the mind. We believe that we are the mind. He doesn't believe he is the mind or the body. Why? Even, and in his case, the mind is going through the usage of words, but he is ever established in his essential self. And what happens in our case? With every arrival of thought or experience or stimuli, we forget we are the self and we dive and create a relationship with that is coming in our mind as a thought. How? I am thinking, I am seeing, I am eating. We become. Mahatma does not become. And that is what is told, that he is the light in which these four are illumined. Just like you are the light in whose light the waker, the waking experience and the waking world is getting illumined. The dreamer, the dream experience and the dream world is getting illumined. And their absence in the deep sleep is getting illumined. Don't you know that these three come and go every day? Yes. Then who are you? Are you the waker? Fall down further. Are you the listener? So even while listening, if you can maintain your poise as the one who is the observer, who is witnessing, the listener, the listened to, and the listening taking place at this moment, this who is witnessing, the seer seen, seeing taking place at this moment. At this moment, oh, it is so close, it is very difficult. Then take the position of that you are the one in whose presence the waking experience, the dream experience, and the sleep experience come and go every day. Because you know it. It's easier. Now try to see what is happening there. For you to know that waking experience took place yesterday, you must have been separate from it. You are the eternal witness. That eternal witness, if I ask you the same question tomorrow, you will say, yeah, yesterday also I listened to the lecture. That means even at this moment you are separate from this interaction that is going on. You are separate from the subject-object relationship, even at this moment. Because when I ask you tomorrow, did you hear the lecture? You will say yes. Listener is involved with listening. Then who witnessed that listener was listening? Mind only became the listener, mind only received the stimuli. Then who was witnessing? Is that witness someone other? No, it is also you only. So that fellow is separate from this Triputi. Even at this moment, we have to come to that poise. Seen from another angle, if I, the pure consciousness, wants to know myself, the pure consciousness, there has to be first the vritti vyapti that I am. Thereafter, there cannot be the next step of phala vyapti when there is ownership of the knowledge, because the knower and the known are the same. First vritti vyapti is I am. I am means where you have come to this conviction without any adulteration, without any corruption, without any doubt. I am. Not I am body, I am thinking, I am father, mother, daughter, sister, not the Gaunatma, not the Mithyatma. In Mithyatma you have come sorted everything out, that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. You have come to the last. What is that? I am. This is the last thought. After that there is no thought possible. This is vritti vyapti. Phala vyapti is by way of thought. So when I say Usha, Usha's form is there. Ravi, Ravi's form is there. Nagaraj, Nagaraj's form is there. Laptop, Laptop's form is there. This is phala vyapti, vritti vyapti. So from all the conclusions, we have come to this conclusion without any reference. And what is that conclusion without any reference? I am. Then once you come to this I am and stay there, you are still thinking I am, soham, 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 soham. With every breath, with every thought, your attention is on yourself as the unchanging principle. How long will it be? You have to continue this till the fuel doesn't get burnt. How long will the flame continue on a camphor? as long as the fuel of camphor is not burnt away completely. What is the fuel here? As long as all the objectivity within the mind has not dissolved away. So rather than coming to any conclusion that I am this, I am that, I am that, you have to first come to the conclusion I am. And when you come and stay there, one day by grace it will click. Why am I thinking I am? Even if I don't think, then also I am. Why? I don't need thoughts to prove my existence. I don't need thoughts to prove my existence. Just as you have a body, if we go blind in one eye, we continue to be. If we go blind by two eyes, we continue to be. Limbs are cut, we continue to be. We have dementia, we continue to be. Brain dead, continue to be. The brain becomes vegetable, that person continues to live. We are bringing all this about consciously. We are bringing all this about consciously. That we are not the changing ones. We are not with reference to anything. I give up all my definitions, which is with respect to something, and I come to I am. When you come to I am, then eventually the I am thought also will drop away. Why? Because what is the need of I thinking about I? It is always. It will also drop away. And that's it. There's nothing after that. That is it. You are abiding in the self as the self. And this is happening even right now. Scriptures are just laying out the process in front of you. And that process is not for the self. That process is for the mind. Because it is always thinking of the other. So it makes the self also as the other. And therefore some process has to be initiated for the mind. So realization, being the self, knowing the self is our natural state. Then why we have to do sadhana? To remove the mind out of the way. To create a window of opportunity for the self to reveal itself as it is in the mirror of the mind, which is uncorrupted by thoughts. So it's clean mirror. We're cleaning the mirror. Sadhana is only to clean the mirror. Sadhana is not to realize the self. Then why are they saying mumukshutvam, realize the self? Because it gives us impetus, it gives us inspiration, it puts a goal in front of us. Some focus has to be there somewhere. Otherwise, we will never leave the gross and move to the subtle, will not leave the subtle and move to the transcendental, if we don't have a goal in front of us. Therefore, mumukshutvam. For whom is the bondage? For the mind. For whom is the mumukshutvam? For the mind, not for the self. It's for this bondage is for the ego. Mumukshutvam is also for the ego. Or you can say for the jiva. Self is not established by mumukshutvam. It is always. So it is sorting out the mind. all sadhana is for sorting out the mind. When we are reading this text of Jnaneshwar Maharaj, if we are genuinely, truly, sincerely following every step what Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying and our Swamiji is explaining it, if we are with it, not with the words, not with the ideas, not with the concepts, not with the references of various scriptures, but if we are, every verse in this script, in this text is bringing you, is reminding you that you are that which is always. Every verse. Be there, be that. Don't be obsessed with information. Let the mind process the information. You be the eternal witness. Thereafter, there cannot be the next step of Phalavyapti. There is Phalavyapti is result. So there is no result after the Vritti Vyapti, there is no Phalavyapti. When I contemplates on I, there is no Phalavyapti. There is no precipitation of a result. If there is no precipitation of result, then precipitation of thought also is not required. Who am I? Who am I will also drop away. Or I thinking about I also will drop away, isn't it? Just like mind thinking about sleep drops away when there is no more distraction in the mind. Exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. And this is what must happen in meditation also. We should not keep thinking. No, it must come to this, where there is no Phala Vyapti as a result of a Vritti Vyapti. When you come to I am, no result, then that I am also will go away. Then knowing is being. Sat and Chit are not two. In the Vedya Vastu, in the Vedya Vastu, the object of knowledge, the knower-known difference does not exist. In the Vedya Vastu, the object of knowledge, the knower and known difference does not exist, or put in another way, it is that knower subject where there is no object of knowledge. So, this was the I. This was the I, and it is thinking about I itself. It's thinking about itself. How can it think about itself? Not possible. This finger can never become an object of knowledge for this finger, isn't it? The I thought cannot become the object of knowledge of I thought. So first we have to dissect the I thought from all the idam, all the not I thoughts. Once you come to the I thought, that is called I am, then who I am? That will be automatically, this question will come. If you have done come to this point, clean the mirror completely, nicely, then you don't have to think. The moment question comes, it goes away. Why? There is no result. I am foolish or what? Thinking about myself. Not required only. Who am I? It is that knower, the subject, where there is no object of knowledge. So, what happens here? See, till now you have been listening. Till now you have been listening that we have dissected everything and come to the self. Come to I am, who am I, stop knowing and being is one. But when this happens, or which is our natural state, what is the nature of the self? That's the next step now. That this self is the infinite self. Brahmatmaikya Bodha. This Atma, this I that I am, is one without a second, is the infinite one. Then what will happen? If the scope and pervasiveness of this self, this I, is infinite, then when the mind clicks back into activity again, will that mind be an object of knowledge for this I? No. Because I has now recognized without thought that it is infinite. That is its true nature. So when the mind again clicks back, the self is the self. What does it see? Does it see mind as separate to itself? No. Therefore, once you come to this realization that knowing is being, thereafter for this I, there is no object of knowledge possible. There is no otherness possible. There are no differences possible. Why? It is ekameva dvitiya. Ishavasya sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagada. Ishavasya, it is all pervasive. See. That we are, in essence. The thought concludes, Manavni Satchit Sukha He Bola Vastu Vachaka Naveti He Shesha Vicharanse. The above inquiry thus concludes that the terms Satchidananda are unable to indicate the self. The conclusion is this. फिर तुम भजन गा लो, मैं तो सच्चित आनंद रे, सच्चिदानंद तू ही तू, राम कृष्ण तू, लाल 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 लालू. All objective. From the above thought, it can be concluded that the three words Satchid and Ananda are incompetent, inadequate to indicate the truth. Once this knowledge is grasped, one cannot even say Aham Brahmasmi. One cannot even say Aham Brahmasmi. Oh, but this is possible only when you abide. Don't try to act. Why you are not saying because I read it somewhere. Then it is not. No. Come to this vritti vyapti. First phala vyapti. No, when there is vritti vyapti, there is no phala vyapti. When the thought goes away, there is no result possible. Result is always possible only by way of thought. And thought is possible only where there is duality. But when subject is thinking about the object called the subject, when I is thinking about I, thinking stops. Because subject is thinking about the object called the subject. In other words, who am I? And when Nisargadatta Maharaj says, I am that, so he is abiding now. No doubt. देखो, this is not to all this what we have just spoken and talked about. Don't become too serious about it. Take it in the stride, interact with it joyfully, interact with this every sentence that is told, word that is told, take it subjectively. Then here and now, right now, while talking, while listening, let the mind do the talking, let the mind do the listening. You are there. Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be practiced. That's the beauty of satsang. Parikshit Maharaj did not practice anything for 7 days when Shukdevji Maharaj was speaking in Bhagavatam. Yet after 7 days of listening to the discourse, to the glory of the divine from the mouth of Lord says Shukdevji Maharaj, Parikshit came to the realization which knowing is being. I am that. Or I am. Not even that. I am. I am that will mean I. So first we removed every thought and came to the I. And what is the next? When it says that the true subject has got no object of knowledge, when you say I am that, that is the idam. Now aham is recognizing that idam is nothing but me only. So yes, the language is used, I am that, but what is the connotation? It's like the water ocean is saying, I am that, or the wave is saying, I am that ocean. Or the ocean is saying, I am that wave, I am that. What is that? That means idam. Idam means all the waves in the ocean. Ocean doesn't say I am only this wave or that wave. I am that means I am pervading all the waves. The essence of every wave is I only. Wave has got no independent existence apart from me. Similarly, no thought, no time-space objectivity, nothing has existence apart from the self. They are all, everything is expression of the self alone. How is it expression of the self? Just as Paramashiva himself became the Shiva Shakti, Shiva Shakti themselves became the Brahma Vishnu Mahesh, Brahma Vishnu Mahesh themselves became, and it went on and so, because we get lost in the information, we forget what the essence is. Essence is Paramashiva, he is one. So, the entire gamut of objectivity is nothing but expression of that one alone. So, why are we using the word objectivity? Because you don't realize that, that's why we are using the word objectivity. The Supreme Subject, the Paramashiva, he doesn't see anything as an object. He sees everything as I only. Just like you are pervading this body, you don't consider this body to be separate from you. You don't consider your child which is born through you as separate from you. Even though they are separate, but you consider it you only, no? Imagine if this feeling, if this disposition of inclusiveness that I am the body, I am the mind, I am the senses, I am my children, children are mine. This mine expands to include the whole, the entire. What will it be like? That will be subject without an object of knowledge. See? Then we are playing with ourselves. Then that becomes Leela. यद वाचा नाभ्युदितं येन वाग अभ्युदयते तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते. We have looked at this verse in Kenopanishad. What speech cannot reveal, but what reveals the speech? Know that alone as Brahman, and it is you and not this that people worship objectively here. So when you go to the temple, are you praying to the stone or are you praying to the divine that is expressing through the stone? You look at the Makara Kundala, Mukuta, Pitambara, Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma, or you look at the Shivalinga, or you look at Hanumanji, or you look at whatever, any image. What is it reminding you of? Is it reminding you, when you look at it, does it remind you of a stone? Or does it remind you of? Or does it take your mind? Looking at the Shivalinga transports your mind to that Shiva principle, which is always. And there, in that statue, in that Shivalinga, it is expressing as continuous existence. See? So, when people go to Mahatmas, they touch their feet. Who are they touching the feet for? Are they touching the feet which are dirty? Or are they touching the one embodied within that body? That embodied is in you also, in him also, in so many of us. Then why people don't touch your feet? Huh? Why only they touch feet of the Mahatmas? Because they are not touching the feet of Mahatma, they are touching what that Mahatma represents. Because there is no corruption there. There the infinite consciousness is abundantly expressing. The vision of that Mahatma has transformed as a result of that, and he has the feeling of oneness. Remember when Shukdevji Maharaj was born, the moment he was born, he started walking away from the parents. And Ved Vyasji said, "Arey son, spend some time, let us also get in, come to know you." He was born late. He was born 12 years late. So the moment he was born, he was 12 years and he started walking. It's a way of telling. 12 years is one tapasya. From the time he was born, he was doing tapasya, and the moment it clicked, he walked away. Did not speak one word. And he was a child, so he was naked. He walked away. And as the father is running after him, Maharishi Vedvyas, who compiled all the Puranas and the Vedas, that great Maharishi, he is running after him. Shukdevji Maharaj is going forward. And he passes one lake where some beautiful young girls are bathing. And they look at Shukdevji Maharaj going naked. And they keep looking at him, and they are intrigued by this young man. And right behind him, at a distance, Ved Vyasji is coming, who's wearing his dhoti, who's wearing his angavastra, who's having a mala around his neck. And the moment he comes, they all take a dip into the water and hide themselves away from the eyes of Maharishi Vedvyas. And he feels offended. He says, when this young handsome boy is running around going, you didn't feel shy. You came out of water and you are looking at him. But when I came, you are hiding yourself. Why? This question was not asked by Shukdevji Maharaj. This question was asked by Ved Vyasji. So Ved Vyasji is still having the objectivity. Therefore this question came. Whereas Shukdevji Maharaj was not even aware of these girls. He was only aware of his self. With that poise, he kept walking. He was not aware of his body also. Ved Vyasji is aware of his body. That's why he is wearing clothes. I met one Mahatma called Hamsanandji on the banks of Rishikesh in Swargashram. He is not aware of his body. I don't know if he is still there. Most of the time he is lying in the charpai. Evening 6 to 6:30 he gives a talk. He is old, 70s he was. 10 years ago I saw him, he was 70 years. That's why I said I don't know if he's still there. And then the self-proclaimed disciples around him in that kutia, they say, Swamiji, 6 baj gaye, log wait kar rahe hain. People are waiting. You will just get off the bed and start walking naked. And these disciples, they quickly take a towel and try to tie around him and this and that. And he doesn't care. He is sitting there on the dais on a wooden plank. He is giving lecture. If the towel comes off, it comes off. He doesn't care. He doesn't know only. He is that virakta. He is that unidentified with the body. Akhandanandji was also the same, they say, towards the end of his last 10-12 years. Not aware of his body only. But we are, shawl has to be there, kurta has to be there, banyan has to be there, underwear, lungi, pant, and then we have to be presentable. Why? What will others think if I go naked out there in the marketplace? But when the vision is of oneness, then whom am I going to be shy from, of? Everything is me. And that was caught by those young girls when they saw Shukdevji Maharaj, and that was missing when Ved Vyasji was coming. So the difference. This is exactly, as long as you are in the mind as a person, differences. When you are abiding in the self as the self, knowing is being, the consequence of that is a unified vision, uncorrupted vision. Nothing is separate apart from you. You are the all-pervasive. Isha Masamidagam Sarvam. Therefore, people with such vision are respected in our society, respected by other human beings. And if they are being If they are wearing the garb, talking all big, but behaving contrary to that, then people will teach them a lesson. See, some of them are behind bars now. To be intensely in this thought is to be an effortless being. That is the culmination of all scriptural thoughts, all sadhana. To be intensely in this thought. See, intensity does not mean you need to get a headache. I'll tell you, where is that intensity of thought when we are intensely aware of one thought in a very relaxed manner? When you go to sleep, you are intensely aware of sleep. You are not available to the thoughts of the waking. And effortlessly, after few seconds, few minutes of thinking of sleep, you glide into sleep. Then why are we making it so difficult for ourselves to glide into meditation, to be the self? Either we are trying too hard or either we are not purified yet in that sense. We have not accepted in our mind the world, the relationships, the possessions, the past, the future, the birth, the death. This holds more power as compared to this knowledge that I am the infinite self. Maybe that is why we are trying too hard and doing disservice to ourselves. See, it is not a willful, it is not a bulldozer approach to the self. You can't force yourself to sleep. The more you force, the more you will not sleep. Similarly, you can't force yourself to be the self. It has to be an effortless glide. So, what is this intensely, when Swamiji is saying to be intensely in the thought, is to be the effortless being. This intensity. So when we do Vaikhari Madhyama Vashanti Para, we have to do with such a bhav that it keeps becoming effortless as we go deeper and deeper. When we reach the bed, we are thinking of sleep, that's why we reach the bed. We are thinking of sleep when we get inside the bed. We are thinking of sleep when we take the doona on top of us. We are thinking of sleep when we take the correct position, which is comfortable. But you don't feel the load. You don't feel tired as a result of thinking of sleep. Yes, those people who do not get sleep, they must be feeling tired. But majority of us, majority of the people who have worked hard, done what is required to be done in their daily life, when naturally they get exhausted at the end of the day, then changing into night clothes, getting into bed, taking the doona over, all this is just a part, it's just happening. Your attention is only on the sleep. Similarly, is our attention on the self that I am, which is all pervasive? Or am I still seeing the differences as the norm? If I'm seeing the differences, I'm objective in my approach. If in spite of the objects, in spite of the differences, my attention is on the one unifying factor, which is the self, That's it. Don't give too much reality. The whole world is in your mind. Mind is nothing but thoughts. From all the thoughts we have come to the I thought and made the I thought to think of I. Story over. Now, this inward journey, this subjective journey will be as long as you want it to be. If you keep thinking the world is real, then this journey, you have been following this journey for lifetimes. That's why you're still exposing yourself to this knowledge. See? So, make a final decision. Enough of objective pursuit. Enough. Give yourselves the time, the luxury, the commitment, the sincerity to dive within yourself, to be the self. To be intensely in this thought is to be an effortless being. That is the culmination of all scriptural thoughts, all sadhana. So what we have just talked about here is the culmination of all scriptural thought. We are reading this text, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, we are reading, studying Kena Upanishad, Bhagavatam. There also the conclusion is same. Conclusion is not delivery of realization. The conclusion is cessation of the mind, cessation of identification with the mind, cessation of objectivity in the mind. That's all. Because without the mind you cannot think. Self cannot think. Mind thinks. Now we need to make the mind think in such a manner that it leads to a positive, effortless, all-encompassing abidance. That choice we have to make, and we have made by attending satsangs. But these are still outside. They are only prompters. They are pointers. Until and unless we don't make them subjective, until we don't glide with these contemplations within ourselves, that is meditation, where every moment is lived with nothing other than the independent existence of one's own being. One's own being, not yesterday, not today, not tomorrow, all the time. All the time. Whether you are for other people, whether the Mahatma is in the world or the Mahatma is in the waking, dream or sleep or in Turiya in meditation, he is always with himself. Just like it is not by your choice that you are waking, dreaming and sleeping. It's happening cyclically every day, isn't it? So we stop only at waking, dream and sleep. But the truth is, cyclically, every day, waking, dream, deep sleep and samadhi are taking place. Oh, when is samadhi taking place? Between two thoughts, every day samadhi is taking place. Between the two states, waking and dream, the samadhi is taking place. Between the dream and the sleep, samadhi is taking place. but it's fleeting. It's fleeting. How many times? Many times, millions of times every day. It's fleeting. All we have to do is catch it, recognize that it is happening. So when we force ourselves for meditation, we are doing disservice to ourselves. You focus on reformatting your mind. The notion is, I am the body, I was born, one day I'll die. Change this notion, Ishavasya Midagam Sarvam, that I am of the nature of the divine, which is the infinite principle, and be that. Reformat your mind. So scripture, then every moment is meditation, whether we are with closed eyes or whether you are with open eyes. Does this mean that we should stop using the word Satchidananda? Naturally the question, because the topic of this chapter is Satchidananda. So do we stop using the word Satchidananda? No. Well, let's see what he answers. Another theme is initiated on how these words should be used. No, we should use it, but how? In this manner as it is mentioned now. What is that? Aise ni iye prasiddhe चालिली सच्चिदानंद पदे मग दृष्ट्या स्वसंवादे भेटती जेव्हा. In this manner, the self-enquiry with the help of these three terms, Satchidananda, will lead to the essential nature of the self, as at times a seeming illusion leads to reality. Just like a person walking in the jungle from far away, two friends are walking and they look at a light. There are two lights. One thinks, oh, what is that light? Oh, I think that is an ashram. Or that. And the other thinks, I think it is a diamond. And they both walk towards their destination, that point of attraction. When he reaches, one finds only a pole, a pillar with a bulb on the top of it. That itna chal ke aaya, sirf ek light mili. The other, both began with ignorance. Both saw the light. But one did not find the diamond, the other found the diamond. But both began with ignorance. Remember this. Same way, a seeming illusion leads to reality. What is illusion? Self is not illusion. Then what is illusion? Thinking is illusion. That I am a seeker is an illusion. That I have to realize is an illusion. But it's okay. Mumukshutvam is an illusion. Mumukshutvam is not for the Paramatma. Mumukshutvam is not for the Atma. Mumukshutvam is for the ego. Ego has to become convinced. I want to realize. Because it's tired of exercising control. It's tired of exercising, because it's a willful control. It is not natural. And when scriptures tell the ego, hey, you are of the nature of the self. Acha, I am of the nature of self. What will happen? A struggle will be over. Ego wants no struggle and yet be all powerful. That is called leverage. Without doing anything, be all powerful. Who doesn't want that? Everyone wants it. Everyone wants that. So until unless the individual does not get fired up by this idea that without any doing, without being the karta bhokta, without thinking, without putting efforts, there is a disposition which is the most powerful, which is most blissful, which is all inclusive. But as an individual, you have to first become convinced of it. Convincing is only in the mind, and mind is an illusion, phenomena. See how the whole thing is. Thinking about the self is phenomena, is an illusion. Self is not an illusion. This being so, that is, Sat, Chit, Ananda and Atma are not meant to indicate the truth. Yet the same words are used to indicate the truth. Sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? They are the very words which will help us to come back to our essential nature. They are the pointers, they are the indicators. We'll stop here and we'll look at the second paragraph of the 20th OV next time. Oh, अभी भी time है. I thought it was 10 o'clock. Sorry, there's still time. These words have become popular and are being used in the scriptures to indicate Sambadi Brahma, an illusion that yields to desired objective. The example that I gave you, an illusion that leads to desired objective. Two people looking at some light, both imagining it is diamond. One gets only a pole with a bulb hanging and the other one gets a diamond. But both began with the illusion of that it is a diamond. Exactly the same way. Mind can aprapya manasa saha. Mind can never come to know the truth. But it begins with the illusion that it has to do something in order to realize the truth, that I am of the essence or nature of truth. But mind is addicted to thinking because we have given too much importance to the thinking part. We have not given importance to the non-thinking part and yet being. See? So where there is mind, there is doubt. Where there is mind, there is faith. Where there is mind, there is conviction. Where there is mind, there is confusion. Where there is mind, there is bondage. Where there is mind, there is liberation. So where do you find yourself right now? Is the mind convinced that you are liberated, or is the mind thinking that it is in bondage? Is the mind thinking that you are the body and mind, or is the mind thinking that it is of the essence of consciousness? Where are you positioned at this moment? That will determine your level of frustration. That will determine your level of frustration. And somewhere it must have clicked. Somewhere it must have, the spark must have lighted, that you are regularly listening to these ramblings. An illusion that Sambadi Brahma is an illusion that leads to the desired objective, a wrong method producing right results. Wrong method producing right results. We begin with ignorance, but we come to the right conclusion. Swasamvada means talking of oneself. Swa means self. Samvada means communication, what do you call it? Talking. So what am I having here? This is samvada means talking only one way. You are not allowed to talk back. Samvada is, so here it is sasamvada. Mind is talking to the self about the self. The mind is talking to itself. There is no object, no person. And isn't that most of the time, out of 24 hours, that we are talking to ourselves? I think I'll do this after class. I'll now have my breakfast, and then 10 or 11 o'clock there will be next class. Oh, is it 9:55? Oh, okay, only 5 minutes more left. Oh, how come I saw 9:51 and I thought it was 1 past 10? Oh, I don't know, but anyway, now I corrected it. All this is going on inside khichdi. But this is khichdi, this samvada is about what? All objective. When the dialogue that is going on in the mind is with respect to the self, Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. This quality of swasamvada, where your mind is talking to itself and reminding itself that it is of the nature of the infinite self. Here it says so samvada, meaning talking to oneself. Instead of saying I am Satchidananda, one talks to oneself about the meaning of the words. Example, the meaning of Sat is it is not an opponent of Asat. That I is the Atma, I is Atma means that it is not contradicting Anatma. We are not here to create divisions. Divisions are only in the mind. And where is the division? Sat Asat is a division. Chit Achit is a division. Ananda Dukkham is a division. Thinking not thinking is a division. Atma Anatma as thoughts is a division. But are you in opposition to all this? If you say you are Sat Chid Ananda Atma, are you standing opposite to Achit, Asat, Achit, Dukkham and Anatma? No. That is not your nature. You are not established because you have negated everything. No. Acceptance and negation is only in the mind, and it is possible only by way of words. Who you are is transcendental to both the ideas, both the concepts, Sat also and Asat also, Chit also and Achit also. You don't take sides. Initially, yes, as long as you are in the mind, we take the side of the Sat, Chit. Why? We want to come out of the tamas to the sattva. We want to come out of the manyness to oneness. Once we have come to oneness, then we drop that idea of oneness also and just be. So this entire text of Amrit Anubhav is a mental dialogue, swasamvada of Jnaneshwar Maharaj to himself. And we are benefiting from it as pointers. You can also write one. But if the idea comes that I have to write, then it's going the wrong way. It must be a natural flow. Swasamvada. Each chapter that Jnaneshwar Maharaj has taken here, he is having a dialogue with himself. How Paramashiva alone is Shiva and Shakti. What is the relation of Shiva and Shakti, which we have taken also when made subjectively, the Atma and the mind, the self and the mind. Atma is the Shiva, mind is the Shakti. What is the nature? Does the Atma become many or the mind becomes many? Mind becomes many. Oh, cha. So same way, Shiva Shakti, Shakti becomes many, Shiva remains the same, mind becomes the many, Atma remains the same. Same thing, yaar. Then who am I? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. See, this is Swasambad. This is Jnaneshwar Maharaj is talking to himself. I am at this moment talking to myself, not talking to you. My eyes may be looking at you, but I am talking to myself. And we don't get tired of talking to ourselves, huh? We get tired of talking to people. But we never get tired of talking to people, to ourselves. Some sort of dialogue is always going on in the mind. And when that dialogue is of this caliber, where you are continuously thinking of the self, oh, फिर तो क्या कहने, फिर तो मजा ही मजा. See. In this way, when one goes on contemplating and one tries to find out one's own source, that enquiry will end where knowledge is revealed. Where will the enquiry end? When you come to the point the subject is seeking the subject as an object. Then the I is contemplating on the object called I. That's when the enquiry will conclude. Come, and you must stay there. You have to it doesn't take long. Because what you are seeking, you already are. Wave is already the water. All it has to give up is its obsession with its form. You are already the self. You have to give up the obsession of Gaunatma and Mithyatma. In this way, when one goes on contemplating and one tries to find out one's own source, that enquiry will end where knowledge is revealed. Where these words meet, the words disappear. Where do these words meet? The words disappear, and the truth, the essential nature of the drashta is revealed. When you come to a disposition where you see Sat, the word Sat, whatever it connotes, initially you are very sincere. Sat in opposite to Asat. Discrimination. But you now come to a point where you find that Sat and Asat, these two words we are talking about, these two words are not worthy of thinking only, because they are self-cancelled. Self-cancelling. They are only in opposition to each other. And now what is the status of Asat? And what is the status of Sat? The status of Sat is equal to the status of Asat. Both of them vanish. The status of Chit is equal to status of Achit. Both of them vanish. Status of Ananda is equal to status of Dukkham. Both of them vanish. They become one. Because both are thoughts. So what is the nature of Sat and Asat, Chit and Achit? Both are thoughts, not worthy of contemplation. Don't get focused on it. We use that only to come to use them as a support to bring ourselves out of the tamas to the sattva, to make ourselves focused, to make ourselves single pointed. But when we come to that, just like that pole vaulter, when he reaches the height, he leaves the pole. We use the term Sat Chid Ananta to reach the height. We have come to the threshold. Now when you have to enter into the sanctum sanctorium, you have to drop that which you took support to come to that point. So when I say that I am, the subject is thinking about the subject as an object, these are words from my mouth. These can be thoughts in your mind. But when it actually happens, thoughts will drop away. If you continue it as an objective pursuit, wanting an experience, wanting a thrill, wanting something to happen, then you are still objective in approach. Then there will be an accident. And the accident is Jiva Bhav will continue. That is the accident. In this way, although these words carry no meaning from the point of view of the Absolute, yet by the method of Samvadi Brahma, intentional delusion, they are very much useful to the seeker. That is the conclusion. See. How do the words disappear after revealing the truth? Oh, I have already answered, but let's see what Jnaneshwar Maharaj says. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Sit quietly for a moment.